Straight ahead on this week's Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, coverage from the Texas Team Trail as they battle on Cedar Creek Reservoir. Plus, the Carolinas Bass Challenge North Carolina Division wraps up the season on High Rock Lake. And fishermen give back during the Potash Fishback on Clarks Hill Lake outside of Augusta. Plus, Bassmasters Elite Series coverage from West Point Lake in Georgia. Finally, the Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight of the Week, and so much more. Stay with us.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show.
Thanks for watching. I'm John Byrne. We're here in the Progressive Insurance studio this week. And to get going, we're going to head up the road on I-85 to High Rock Lake for the Carolinas Bass Challenge North Carolina Division. The Carolinas Bass Challenge North Carolina Division made their 5th stop of the season up on High Rock Lake. And we were there as the guys came in with their fish, hoping to be the one to win the new boat motor trailer package and take home that winning cash.
Pretty rough. We looked hard. We finally found a few.
You did?
Yeah.
Where'd you end up finding them?
Up in the river. Up shallow.
So they made you work, huh?
Made us work.
It was interesting. Lots of fish, not any real big fish, but had a great day. Good time, good run tournament. You gotta love your buddy behind you.
How does business change from morning to afternoon?
Didn't really change for us a bit. 111. Didn't change at all for us. So.
How do you think you did?
Probably 13 pounds, maybe, something like that. Culled a bunch of fish, just ounces at a time.
We just didn't catch enough fish, and they not bite.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a good morning bite. We had our opportunities to catch probably 16, 17 pounds, but about 3 or 4 lost fish. We had to fish slow. We started out fishing fast, but we had our chances. We should have made it happen.
It took us a little while to find them. I practiced Monday for a little bit and caught them pretty good Monday, but today was totally opposite. We had to just abandon that pattern and go to a new one, so it took us a little bit to find them. After we found a couple bites and got a couple good fish in, seemed like on in the day it got tough again. It slowed up, and so, but I think what we got was good timing, I guess.
Hello everybody, I'm Brett Collins with the Carolinas Bass Challenge Team Tournament Trail. We're here today at High Rock, going out of Tamarack Marina. We had a total of 173 teams competing for $40,600. Looks like today Jackie Riley and Butch Drew's going to be our winners. They're going to take on $10,000. What's special about this tournament, this is our last qualifier in the North Carolina side. All these teams is qualified. This fish 3 qualifiers. They'll be able to go to Lake Wiley in September. After that, we're going to take all the teams from the South Carolina division, team up with the North Carolina divisions, go to Lake Murray in late October. This year was our best year. It's our 2nd year, but it was way beyond what we thought it would be. We had close to 900 teams from the Carolinas participate with us, paid out close to $750,000 by the time it's all said and done. We hope next year you can join us. It's one of the best trails going right now, brought to you by Skeeter Boats, Marshall's Marine in Lake City, South Carolina, Foothills Marine in Morganton, North Carolina, and Palmetto Boat Center in Greenville, South Carolina. Hope you can be there. Watch next year for 2014. It's going to be even better.
Thanks, Brett. We'll look forward to the championship this fall for the Carolinas Bass Challenge. Up next, the Texas Team Trail on Cedar Creek Reservoir. We check out the latest from the Bassmaster Elite Series, as well as our Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight, brought to you by Strike King and their Pro Tip of the Week. That and much more right after this.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. This portion sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a leader in boat insurance. Sponsored by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. And by Evinrude Outboards. Get from the water to the trophy stand in record time.
Welcome back to the Progressive Insurance Studios. We're off to beautiful Clarks Hill Lake outside of Augusta for the very first Potash Fishback Open Team Tournament. This 2-day Open Team Tournament is designed and sponsored by the Potash Corporation to give back to this great community. All net proceeds will go to 2 local charities, the Georgia Ovarian Cancer Alliance, as well as the North Augusta Youth Fishing Team, keeping our youth involved in the great sport of bass fishing. 125 boats were on hand to compete for the guaranteed $12,000 first place prize, and each day another $1,000 was awarded to the big fish winner. The weather was beautiful after many, many months of rain, and Clarks Hill Lake is finally at full pool for the first time in 4 years, making all the anglers more than a little happy. And speaking of being happy, they were really happy with what Potash is doing to sponsor this great tournament.
So y'all caught most of y'all's after the clouds passed?
We caught most of them this morning.
Okay.
First thing this morning.
So once the sun came out, it got hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard right now.
That's pretty much what everybody's saying.
I think all this fresh water, you know, kind of mixed up and the bait's a little deeper.
Yep.
Oh, do it, Danny. On TV, baby.
On TV.
That's right. What we saw calling.
Yep.
That's a shell cracker.
Oh,
look at that.
Hey,
that's a good one.
That's an aggressive shell. That's an overachiever.
That's a nice one, though.
You ain't kidding.
That'd go good in the frying pan.
Way it goes.
I know. He was hungry.
I got 3 fish, one about 3 pounds, and I'm just trying to get 2 more. I just had bite after bite, and they just ain't committing to it. That's just how it goes up here, you know. The water came up all of a sudden, and it just seems like it scattered them, you know.
Did you catch them early?
Yeah, I did for the most part.
Before the clouds rolled out?
Yeah, once the sun popped out, I've been struggling ever since.
That's been what we're hearing.
Somebody's gonna have them though, guaranteed. Somebody will have them for sure.
Friends, family, and spectators gathered as the anglers headed towards the weigh-in stage.
It was rough, but it was pretty good.
How conditions changed from cloudy this morning to bluebirds?
They turned off.
They did. That's what I've heard.
Yep.
What did we talk about?
They sure did.
How do you think you did?
Not real well, but we did pretty good.
A rough day.
It was a rough day.
It was a rough day. It was a slow day. I mean, it was consistent. We were catching them all day long, but struggled to catch the big bite. And our first 2 spots, someone was already on them, so we had to resort to plan C. Went to our 3rd spot. We every spot we went to just about caught some, and we got 1 big bite, but we needed some more.
20.66. Everybody give him a hand. New leader. 20.66.
Mike Whitaker and Ray Fitzgerald weighed in over 20 pounds for the day, and a great time was had by all. Thanks to the Potash Company and all the staff, volunteers, and anglers that made this event possible. What a great cause. Coming up on this week's Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight, brought to you by Strike King, our own Vance McCullough is out on the water to bring you our pro tip of the week. But first, in celebration of Ranger Boats' 45 years in business, providing excellent watercraft to anglers all across the country, we test your knowledge and have a little fun each week with the Ranger Boats Question of the Week. This week's question: in 1969, Ranger Boats was the first to install what feature that not only makes boats quieter, but also adds comfort, security, and aesthetic appeal? Back right after this.
You're watching the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, presented by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. This portion has been sponsored in part by your local Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitters, and by Strike King Lures, makers of the KVD line of jerkbaits. Go to StrikeKing.com.
Get all the answers to the Ranger Boats questions of the week by logging on to mydreamrig.com. Now it's time for the Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight, brought to you by Strike King and our own Vance McCullough out on the water with a pro tip of the week.
Thanks, John. I'm here on world-famous Rodman Reservoir, about 10 minutes from downtown Palatka. We've got high, bright skies. It's a perfect day for pitching some of your favorite Strike King lures to some of these stumps. This here is a Strike King rodent. And this is the Bama bug color, June bug on one side and green pumpkin on the other. It's good in this fairly clear water we have here in Rodman. And that's a Strike King 3/8 ounce tungsten weight. And small, compact, comes through the cover well and transmits all kind of vibration to let you know what the bottom feels like, what kind of bottom composition you have. And sometimes that's a real key when you're flipping, is to find the right bottom composition underneath these mats that all look the same. But the more you can learn about that environment, the smarter you can fish, and that tungsten weight telegraphs a whole lot of information.
Thanks, Vance. You can get all the latest Strike King lures and all of the gear for your bass fishing excursion from your area Sportsman's Warehouse. To find a location, just go to www.sportsmanswarehouse.com. They say the Texas Team Trail was designed by fishermen for fishermen fishing the great state of Texas. It's the Texas Team Trail on Cedar Creek Reservoir. Each regular season event is a one-day team tournament and delivers 100% payback, including a fully rigged Ranger or Stratus boat with an Everdune 150 complete with trailer, guaranteed as a first place prize at each and every event. We join anglers Jeff Reynolds and Randall Bruce on Cedar Creek just before the launch.
We're at Cedar Creek Lake here in Texas, down by Athens, Texas. It's the last TXTT event of the year before the championship, and we were fortunate enough to draw boat number 1 today, so we're all excited, ready to get out there and go fishing.
We're going to start out throwing some topwater lures, and hopefully the bass are up feeding, maybe somewhat of a shad spawn, hopefully, and see if we can get a topwater bite to start out and go from there.
It's real cloudy right now. Wind's probably blowing close to 20 miles an hour, gusty, but should make them more active, make them hopefully feed all day long so we can do what we like to do and run and gun. Well, we're all strapped down, ready to go, so let's go get after it, man. Got to. He ain't that big. Yes! You're in, ain't you? Well, that don't matter. That's just, you're all right. Oh, my rod's in. That's all that matters. You know, we knew coming into this morning it was going to be real key to catch a couple good ones early. With the fish up feeding, some shad are still spawning a little bit, and you know, we've fortunate enough to draw boat number 1 and get out here, and man, right off the bat had a big one just jump all over top water. Knocked it out of the water, never did get a hold of it. I mean, he was sure enough a good one. And then caught a couple decent fish, and then caught one good one, 4 or 5 pounder. And that's a big, big key to get one of them good ones first thing, and then just try to add to it the rest of the day. But you know, it's still early. If these clouds will stay around, you know, I think the shad will stay up here shallow.
Got him?
I got him.
Man, take it right now. Take that for sure.
Yeah. Hooks everywhere. I don't know if he's gonna make it or not. He might though. Oh, look at that, 15-incher. That's a big one.
That's huge compared to what I catch.
Close to 150 teams set out to test their skill and see if they could bring in the winning bag. Anglers John Strong and Craig Goodwin.
Caught them real good this morning on a brush pile out in about 10 foot. And we've been catching a lot of fish here, just you gotta weed through all the small ones.
Fish? I don't think it's a keeper. Gonna be close. Man.
How to measure?
No, you couldn't measure that fish. That fish was 10 inches. Well, that's what we was catching this morning.
Put
right
that
there.
on.
Yeah. We was catching bait. And I'm scared that's all that's here right now.
I think we're gonna have to do something different.
Yep. I think we're gonna have to go back over there and just stay on that bank with them finesse worms and just fish till 3 o'clock.
Looking at the map and doing the research on the Google Earth and stuff, looking, there was a ton of docks, and we really thought the dock bite was where it was gonna be. We got up here, the water's a little lower, 3.5 to 4 foot low. And there's some docks still got some water under it, but it just didn't pan out like we thought it would, like we was hoping. The points was more of what we found more fish on, groups of fish on, was the points, not the docks.
So what's the theory for switching to the Carolina, I mean, in your opinion?
Well, a lot of times after you get a school fired up and catch, you know, like we did earlier, 3 or 4 real quick, and then they'll slow down, and if you throw something different that they haven't seen yet, you can milk the school for a couple more fish, you know, a Carolina rig or a Texas rig worm or a football jig. A lot of times will get you an extra bite or two, or even a shaky head. It's just a little breezy today. Try throwing a shaky head, but we'll fish around here for just a little bit longer and see if they'll fire up. If they won't, then we'll go somewhere else and maybe put this in a rotation for later during the day, because there'll be some more fish caught here today at some point. I don't think that I want to sit here all day. I mean, if we were catching 6-pounders, I might consider camping out, but as it looks, we're just catching some decent keepers.
Cedar Creek Lake, your champions, Jason Bonds and Billy Howell. Where are you guys? Come on up here. I think they must have brought their Sharpies. I think they were over there giving interviews.
It started off horrible. We probably lost 7 or 8 fish that were probably in 15, 16-pound range. My buddy hooks me in the shoulder. Yeah, I got a little blood there.
Told him to tighten up.
Did you use the line technique, or did you just grab the pliers?
He was so mad he just pulled it out.
No way. Seriously, you just reached back there and pulled it out?
That's what I do.
All right, well, so far we don't have a clue how you caught one. Tell us how you caught a couple of them.
Tell 'em.
All of our fish came on a Carolina rig, catching them on a kicker fish bubble fry. We, like you said, we literally lost every fish we had this morning till about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And after talking to each other and giving each other several pep talks, a couple prayers, and kind of caught a deep breath and drank a bottle of water. And man, by the grace of God, we stayed in one spot and we hunkered down. And when we saw the fish there and we couldn't get bit, in about 10:15 it happened for us. And we caught them for probably about 2.5, maybe 2.5 hours. We probably culled 4 or 5 times. It wasn't as hot as heavy as you would think that it was, but there were so many boats and traffic, and we just stayed right there in the middle of them and just kept fishing.
Highlights of the Bassmaster Elite Series from beautiful West Point Lake in LaGrange, Georgia, right after this break. You're tuned in to the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. Stay tuned, there's more ahead.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, presented by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Sponsored by Snagproof, creators of the original frog. By Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Evan Root Outboards. By your local Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. And by Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing lures.
When you attend any Bassmaster Elite Series event, you know it's going to be a show, and that's exactly what it was down on West Point Lake. We check in with Calvin Johnson as he is following Skeet Reese on the water.
This is Skeet Reese, professional fisherman. He is in, of course, we're following the top 12. I believe currently he's in about 5th or 6th place. This time of the year, and you know, dictated by water temperature and such, the fish come up shallow to spawn. You'll watch him, he'll stop fishing for a while and just look at the water like he's doing right now. He's looking for areas where the fish have fanned out an area for spawning. They're flipping small baits, and generally some of those beds are around brush piles or, you know, rocks or limbs or blown down logs or trees. And yeah, they do often get hung up. They'll, you know, depending on what he's fishing, if there's a big fish that he's trying to, agitate into biting, he may just cut his line rather than move in and retrieve his bait. But obviously, if it's just a hang up, there's no fish around, he'll do his best to, pull it loose and continue fishing. Yeah, well, this time of the year, the water temperature and the time of the year dictate what the fish are doing. And right now, it's just right for spawning. So the fish are running the banks looking for areas to spawn. And so that's, of course, the fishermen realize that, so they're following the fish up to the shoreline, looking for bedding bass.
Skeet Reese continued his pattern throughout the day, as well as other anglers in the top 10. And Casey Ashley talked about his day as well.
Hey, when I caught those two early, and then I was kind of in a lull all day. I couldn't get anything going. I found about a 5 or 6 pounder at 1 o'clock on the bed, and I fished for her for the last 2 hours, and I couldn't make her bite.
It's either Skeet Reese or Tommy Biffle, 33 pounds at 9 ounces. Needs 12-14. 1 pound, 5 ounces. Skeet Reese cannot be beat at the West Point Lake Battle. 7-time Bassmaster Elite Series champion, Skeet Reese.
Just try and fish. Just try and fish smart. That's really that's the key. Is just it's coming into this. When you have preconceived notions, they're usually it usually hurts you. So just try and be able to fish the conditions and make the adjustments and changes that you have to make to catch them. Whether it's I got to pick up a crankbait, a swim bait, or a spinning rod. I'll do whatever I have to do to catch them. And hopefully I just keep fishing smart.
Here's how the top 5 looked. Folks, fishing smart is what it's all about. For all your tournament reports and tournament schedules, make sure you go to www.anglerschannel.com. From our Progressive Insurance Studios, make it a great week on the water.